Hey, okay, we're up to Parshat Kiteitzei. Kiteitzei means when you go out, and it's specifically talking about a war, when you go out to war. Kiteitzei lemilchama al oivecha, when you go out to war against your enemy. Unetano Hashem elokecha biyadecha, and Hashem will give him to you, give your enemy to you, and vishavita shivyo, and you can take captives, and you actually take people prisoner. And there's a whole parsha there, a whole story about taking women prisoners, and can you basically marry these women, female prisoners that you take from war. It's so bizarre. It's a really bizarre concept. Can you marry non-Jewish women that you find at war? But that is not what we're going to discuss today. But what we will discuss is the fact that these parshas, the last couple parshas, and this one and the next one, always come out during the month of Elul, when we are talking about the process of tshuva, of reevaluating your life, yourself, personal growth, preparing for Rosh Hashanah. So 3 times, once in the last week's parsha and twice in this week's parsha, we hear about wars going on. And so, of course, Netivot Shalom, in his Hasidic way, talks about how the war is against the Yetzer Hara, your, typical primary enemy. It's not just like you go out to any specific enemy. It doesn't say when you go out to war against any enemy or against a enemy, but it says your enemy, meaning your capital enemy, right? And it's talking about the Yetzer Hara, our struggle with our, inner desire for comfort, for distance from Hashem, for just escape, for release, and just not putting in any effort. And this week's parsha specifically, just an aside, I'll just tell you something fun I heard about last week's parsha. Last week's parsha was talking about a milchemet mitzvah. When you go out to a war that is a mitzvah. What is that? Any war where your enemy attacks you first, that is a milchemet mitzvah. That is called a milchemet kiyum, a milchemet chiyuv. You are obligated to fight that war, to go out to that war, and to kill all your enemies. To kill them all, and actually not even to kill only your enemies or only terrorists or only active, aggressive people who are fighting against you. No. Actually, it said, and I know this sounds very politically incorrect, don't quote me on it. I'm not going to be banned from certain countries as a result. But it says in the Torah that you actually kill every single male in the nation that attacked you. You kill them all. And then you can take the rest of the people, which is the women and children, as your servants. Nice. Okay. But I'm not going to discuss that anymore. Okay. We will talk about this week's parsha, which is, it seems a little bit less violent. But it seems to say not that you are going to fight your enemy. It doesn't say ki tilachem al oivecha, when you fight your enemy, but it says when you go out to fight your capital enemy, your primary enemy. So you're going out. It's you're taking initiative. So he says a few things about this sort of a thing. First of all, he says, in general, when you wait around for the enemy to attack you, like what happened with Amalek, we have a few weeks ago, we had the parsha of Amalek coming to fight against the Jewish people, and it said, Vayavo im Amalek, vayilachem im Yisrael berefidim, that Amalek came and fought against the Jewish people, and the Jewish people refidim, which also is the root of rifyon yadayim, that they were weak, they were weak-handed. So when you wait for your enemy to just come and attack you, you are already at a disadvantage. And we see what happened on October 7th. If you wait around and you're not sure, maybe they're completely okay, and maybe we want peace with them, and maybe we should just give them more and more privileges, and we should allow them to come into our countries and to work for us, and we should just be okay with them, and we don't anticipate that they are our enemy, and we let them attack us, then we are tremendously disadvantaged and tremendously damaged. So we see what happened there, and we are weak. We are totally weak. We were caught so unprepared, right? So on the other hand, if you get up and you take initiative and you know, I have an enemy here and I'm going to fight against them and I'm going to take the first step, then he says, even if it's a milchemet reshut, and he says this particular parsha is talking about a milchemet reshut, which means a permitted war. It's not a mitzvah war. It's not a existential war. It's not a obligational war, but you take the initiative and you decide, you know what? There's an enemy over there. I think we should go and conquer that place. And we should get rid of those enemies. That is a very smart thing to do, says Netivot Shalom, and it also refers to your Yetzer Hara. So what does that mean? You need to take initiative, and it's about a permitted war. It's not necessarily an existential war. So first of all, you take initiative. You say to yourself, I am fighting against the Yetzer Hara, and I need to figure out my particular Yetzer Hara. And every single person has a different, I wouldn't say a different Yetzer Hara. Some people have a similar weakness or a similar flaw that they need to work on. It's basically like 4 different elements, But like, if you don't figure yourself out, then that enemy is going to come and bite you and cause damage. So like, for instance, let's say you're a water element, okay? There's 4 elements. There's fire, there's water, there's earth, and there's air. Okay, I'm not going to go into them all. I have a nice course I could teach if you want about all the elements, but that's not the point. The point is, let's say you're a water. A water element is a person who is a little bit of an addictive personality because they are very easygoing. They look for comfort. They have desires because, they're very good, nice people, very nice people, giving people, because chesed is the flowing energy, but chesed also is like no boundaries, loving, open to many, many different influences, and therefore you are open to a lot of desires, and you kind of get carried away with those desires. And because you're easygoing and you're not striving to push yourself and put in a ton of effort, you may be the kind of person who can be swept away by all kinds of escape routes and all kinds of, let me look for relief from this and relief from that so that I don't have to put too much effort in. Now, if you just go about your life and you wait for that Yetzer Hara to attack you, and it will, because Hashem loves us and Hashem wants us to work on ourselves and to become great and to take life and learn from it and just push ourselves. And like, life is a war. That's also another lesson here. Life is a war. You come out of Hashem's, like, you come down into this world, a neshama, you come into this world and you need to hit the ground running. You are in a war. Ki tetzei, as soon as you come out into this world, la milchama, you're in a war. So get with the program, okay? So if you just wait for, your Yetzer Hara to take hold of you, it will. And that means you're going to be given to addictions. You're going to have to now go to rehab, okay? Let's say an example. Or you're going to have to deal with a lot of damage that is caused possibly by this flaw. Whereas if you take yourself in hand, you're about age 22, 23, 21, right? I mean, yeah, we're all older than that. It's a little too late, but that doesn't matter. That's good. And you say, you know what? I'm working on myself because I know this world is a war and I am here to become great. I need to figure myself out. What is my deepest flaw? What is my biggest root evil or urge or thing that is going to make me or break me? And then you need to give it your all. You need to fight it. And if you go out and you take initiative, Hashem will allow you to overcome that enemy. Hashem will help you out. So that's something really cool. Now, all of us, yes, we're old and it's okay, but we do have Elul, and that Elul is a chance to renew ourselves and to go into the new year a different person and to really figure ourselves out. And he says that, a lot of people just kind of go into the new year and they take on a couple of things and, I'm going to speak less Lashon Hara this year, or this year I'm going to really work on my Shabbos. I'm going to keep I'm going to make sure to be careful on Shabbos. I'm going to keep Shabbos or Kashrut or whatever. All that is great, but that's not the point. The point is you are in a war and you need to change your whole perspective on life. Your life is not about just like easy streak. It's not about looking for ways out. It's about fighting the war. And in fact, in last week's Parsha, if you remember, there was a whole thing about, what did it say? Last week's Parsha. There in last week's Parsha, it was about when you go out to war also, actually, when you go out to that fighting war, to the existential war, to the mitzvah war, it says that lo tiramahim, you should not be afraid. Ki Hashem Elokecha imcha hamalcha me'eretz Mitzrayim. Hashem is with you. Do not fear them. You see all these enemies, and actually it says v'ra'ita sus v'rechav. You see horses and chariots. Am rav mimcha lo tiramahim. A huge nation from you. Now it could mean just in the regular Hebrew, a nation that is huge, more huge than you, like bigger than you, greater than you. Like you see tons of people, and it's like the Roman army, and so, or the Greek army. So how can we little Maccabees fight them? That could be a bigger enemy than you, or it could be Am Rav Mimcha. This is a huge enemy, a huge Yetzer Hara, and it's because of you. It's because of you, because you did a lot of things that strengthened that Yetzer Hara. It's because of you. You really did fail in a lot of areas, and you're just causing yourself a tremendous amount of damage, and you're causing the enemy to be stronger. Still, don't fear, because Hashem is with you. This is what Hashem put you in the world for. And Hashem loves you. And Hashem just wants you to grow and wants you to become greater. So don't be afraid. Realize all of life is a war and a battlefield. And Hashem is with you. So don't be afraid. He says the other thing about a war is that when you go to war, you need to completely leave everything behind. We see the soldiers that do this today. They leave everything behind. They leave their wives, they leave their families, they leave their jobs, they leave their degrees, and they just decide that they are putting themselves into this mindset that they are here to win, and they will win. And that is how they go into battle. It's unbelievable. These Jewish soldiers are just incredible. You listen to them, you talk to them, and you are inspired. And this is how we need to behave with our Yetzer Hara. We have to have full conviction that we will succeed, and we have to leave everything else behind. He says another thing is like sometimes, like you go into war or you go into fighting your Yetzer Hara with like, you go with the feeling that, I'm going to basically keep myself the way I am. I'm not going to change too much. I don't want to change too much. Let's see how Torah can work itself into my schedule or into my life or into my habits, or I am just like this. This is how I am. I can't really change that about me, right? So he says, no, you really have to leave. Get out of yourself. Get out of who you thought you were. Get out of the things that you really think you can't overcome, and realize that Hashem is with you. Hashem loves you. Yes, you can overcome, and you have to believe in yourself and believe that Hashem is with you and wants you to succeed. And that does kind of connect a little bit with what we were learning today with my learning group. Almost everybody was there, except for Debbie, who has a wedding tonight. Mazal tov. We talked about this idea of praying to God as if we don't deserve it, right? Like as if we're just asking for a free gift, for a freebie, right? And we talked about, one of us were saying that like she felt such relief when she realized that it doesn't have to calculate, do I deserve it? Did I do enough mitzvot this week? Is Hashem going to give it to me or not, based on my actions? But that it's completely unconditional, and Hashem loves us, and Hashem wants to give us this incredible, infinite gift of matnat chinam, just like for nothing. It's unconditional. You've got this huge treasury of just freebies. So if you just tap into that and you just realize and you have bitachon and you pray to God out of the knowledge that Hashem loves you, wants to give you this, that's all you need, right? And that it doesn't depend on your actions. You should not be afraid. You shouldn't be afraid. You should go into prayer with that conviction and that trust that Hashem will give you what you're looking for. And not only that, he gives us such a tremendous, we have the feeling that we are accomplishing. And we have to realize that in and of itself is a chesed. One of the other ladies was saying, why, in fact, why does Hashem say that there's this sort of reward and punishment? And if you do mitzvot, you're going to get a lot of good things happen to you. So what's the point of even doing mitzvot if you can really just ask Hashem to give you based on this free gift idea, right? So why should you even do all these mitzvot if Hashem's going to give it to you anyway? But that's another gift from Hashem. Hashem gives us the feeling that we are actually doing something to deserve it. And that if we are doing all these mitzvot, it's not really, that we kind of feel like, yeah, we are deserving. And that in and of itself is a feeling of accomplishment. We feel proud of ourselves. We feel good about ourselves. So Hashem not only is giving us a free gift, guess what? He's giving you a free gift because you don't deserve anything, because everything that we do is just because we want to become closer to God, and that's our meaning, that's our purpose, and everybody wants to have meaning and purpose. Nobody wants a meaningless life. Okay, so it's not like we deserve any credit for anything, but then Hashem gives us the extra gift of feeling like we do deserve it and feeling good about ourselves, feeling like, yeah, we are an accomplished person because we are doing all these mitzvot. So I wish you a lot of luck with that war, with the battle of life. The other day, I'm going through a lot of aggravation with a certain project that I'm starting in after the holidays. A seminary. I'm starting another seminary just because I'm bored, Anyway, whatever. A lot of aggravation. And when I vent a little bit about the aggravation that I'm going through. And I'm living in a male house these days. I have one daughter and she's married out of the house for 10 years. So I'm just living with my husband and sons. And basically the reactions revolved around, either, blah, 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 solution oriented, we'll do this, do that. And one of my kids was like, just leave it, just leave it. Just don't do it. It's causing so much aggravation. And they thought they were being, kind and sympathetic. And I'm like, no, that's not what life is about. I want to do it, and I would like to please vent, so just listen and support me. And I have to do this because it's what Hashem wants. And if Hashem wants me to do it, it will work out. It will succeed, and it will be great. And it will be amazing, and life will be good. Okay, I'm going through some aggravation. What do you think life is about? We don't look for free, just a free, smooth ride through life. It's just not, and I do feel good about it afterwards. And a person is basically built in such a way, we are wired to feel good about meaning and purpose and fulfilling things and accomplishing things, because that's the ultimate happiness. Anyway, good luck with everything. Have a good Shabbos.